Hi, welcome to another wonderful session. This is Santu Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial. In this YouTube video, I will discuss some important MCQ questions on English literature. As I have earlier mentioned that I am conducting 500 MCQ series on English literature for West Bengal set. So this is the third video of this series. Earlier I have discussed 70 questions with explanation. In this video I will also discuss some MCQ questions along with explanation. So let's begin the video, and here is the first question on your screen. Okay, now question number 71 says that Alexander Pope revised the rape of the lock 3 times. So Alexander Pope revised the rape of the lock 3 times. In the final year revision of the poem that was published in the year 1717, he inserted a speech. He included or he inserted a speech by, so option number 2, that is Clarissa. In the third edition that was published in the year 1717, Alexander Pope added Clarissa's speech there. And the last, so far it has 3 edition. That is in 1712 it was first published, then 1714, then 1717. Okay, in the third edition there was the inclusion of Clarissa's speech. In the second edition we will find that Alexander Pope has dedicated a letter to Arabella Farmer. Okay, now move to the next slide. Question number 72. In Shakespeare's Macbeth, who was untimely ripped off? Who was untimely ripped off? That is Caesarean baby from his mother's womb. That is Macbeth, Macduff, Duncan, Malcolm. So option number 2, that is Macduff, is the right answer. So Macduff was the untimely ripped baby from his mother's womb. Okay, it is very easy. Now move to question number 73. Who is the heroine? Who is the heroine in Shakespeare's Tempest, the last play? That is written by Shakespeare. Here, Viola, Portia, Miranda, Beatrix. So Miranda is the right answer here. Miranda was the heroine of Shakespeare's Tempest. Okay, now move to the next question. Question number 74. Question number 74 says that which of Charles Lamb's friend, which of Charles Lamb's friend said that Lamb was the most delightful, most provoking and sensible of men. He always made the best pun and the best remarks in the course of evening. So the options are Hazlitt, Coleridge, Bacon, Wordsworth. So option number A, that is Hazlitt. Hazlitt made this comment on his friend Charles Lamb, that Charles Lamb was the most delightful and the most provoking and sensible of men. He always made the best pun and the best remarks in the course of the evening. Okay, the next question here. The term negative capability. The term negative capability is associated with whom? Wordsworth, John Keats, T.S. Eliot, Shelley. So Wordsworth, John Keats, T.S. Eliot, Shelley. The term negative capability is associated with John Keats. John Keats had coined the term negative capability, whereas William Shakespeare is the prime example of negative capability. William Shakespeare is the prime example of a negative capability, and it has been coined, the phrase has been coined by John Keats. Orwell's Animal Farm, that was published in the year 1945, is about the animal world, the Homo sapiens, the degeneration of communist ideas, or none of these. Orwell's Animal Farm, published in the year 1945, it was about the degeneration of communist ideas. So option number C here is the right answer. Okay, now move to another next question. Here is the slide. Look, Animal Farm is a beast fable because animals were represented here in the character in the form of satirical allegorical novel. It's a satire. It's an allegorical novel, a short novel. It was written by George Orwell, first published in the year 17th August 1945, and that tells the story of a group of farm animals who rebel against their human farmer. So the farm animals were rebelling against their human farmer, and they're hoping to create what? To create a society where the animals can be equal, can be free, and can be happy as well. Ultimately, the rebellion was betrayed under the dictatorship of a pig named Napoleon. So the name of the pig was Napoleon. The farm ends up in a state as bad as it was before. So it was a satire. It is an allegorical novel, Beast Fable, written by George Orwell. Okay. Now move to the next question. Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities. So here, Tale of Two Cities. The two cities are London and Paris. One is London, another is Paris. Can be considered as a sociological novel, Bildungsroman, regional novel, historical novel. You know that Bildungsroman is a Pepys story, that is the story of Great Expectation and David Copperfield. They are Bildungsroman novel because here the protagonist, the growth of the protagonist has been shown from childhood to the boy, from adulthood. The moral development as well as the the moral development as the psychological development can be seen. So this is Bildungsroman novel. But A Tale of Two Cities is a historical novel where the two cities like London and Paris has been described. Paris have been described, London and Paris. And the best opening line is, it is the worst of time, it's the best, it was the best of time, it was the worst of time. The famous opening line of Tale of Two Cities by Dickens was, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. A Tale of Two Cities is a historical novel that was published in the year 1859 by Dickens, set in London, Paris before and during the French Revolution. Okay, the novels tell the story of a French doctor, Manet. It tells about the story of the French doctor Manet, his 18-year-long imprisonment in the Bastille, in Paris. Okay, and he's released to live in London with his daughter Lucy, whom he had never met. The story is set against the conditions that led up to the French Revolution and the reign of terror. So it is about the French doctor Manet and his 18-year-old long imprisonment in the Bastille in Paris. So the two cities, that is Paris and London. It's a historical novel. And we'll move to the next question. The last line of which novel? It is the last line of which novel? It is far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far better race that I go to than I have ever known. So A Tale of Two Cities, Hard Times, David Copperfield, Bleak House. So this is the ending line of A Tale of Two Cities. A Tale of Two Cities, written by Charles Dickens in the year 1858. Yeah, 1800. Okay, 1859. Sorry, 1859. Okay, now move to the next question. Question number 79. Who wrote the poem that is Sesame and Lilies? Sesame and Lilies. Ruskin Bond, John Ruskin, D.H. Lawrence, Lord Byron. So here John Ruskin is the right answer. John Ruskin wrote Sesame and Lilies. Okay, now move to question number 80. Sesame and Lilies, first published in the year 1865, stands as a classic 19th century statement on the natures and duties of men and women. It is also about books and the importance of, so it is about the natures and duties of men and women, and it also about books and the importance of reading. Book and the importance of reading and education for women. So this poem talks about the importance of book as well as the educations for women and the duties of men and women. Sesame and Lilies was written by John Ruskin. It was written by John Ruskin. Now move to question number 80. In Ulysses, Leopold Bloom works for Dublin what? For Dublin bar, fork, newspaper, bank. So in Ulysses, Leopold Bloom works for a newspaper. So this is the right answer. Question number option number 3 is the right answer here. 81. Who among the following is not a diasporic writer? Who among the following is not a diasporic writer? So Beryl Benbridge, Timothy Moore, Hanif Qureshi, Sam Salvan. So the right option here, Beryl Benbridge is the right option. He does not belong to the category of diasporic writer, whereas Timothy Moore, Hanif Qureshi and Sam Salvan, they all belong to the category of diasporic writer. And Sam Salvan, you know that is a Sri Lankan diasporic writer. Sam Salvan is Sri Lankan diasporic writer. Yeah, move to question number 82. Which work was satire? Which work was a satire on Ottawa Rima? Which work was a satire in Ottawa Rima attacking George III, and Robert Sadi? So options are Dance It, The Vision of Judgment, Child Harold's Pilgrimage, Alastair. So Dance It, The Vision of Judgment, Child Harold's Pilgrimage. So which work was a satire in Ottawa Rima? You know, Ottawa Rima is having what? 8 iambic pentameter. 8 iambic pentameter. 8 iambic pentameter is satire, and its rhyming scheme is A B A B C C. This is the rhyming scheme of Ottawa Rima. So the work that was written in Ottawa Rima attacking George III and Robert Sadi, it was The Vision of Judgment. It was The Vision of Judgment. The Vision of Judgment that was written by Lord Byron. Lord Byron, it's a kind of parody. It's a kind of parody on Robert Sadi's A Vision of Judgment. It is a kind of parody on Robert Sadi's A Vision of Judgment. Robert Sadi first wrote A Vision of Judgment, and the next year Byron wrote The Vision of Judgment, which is a kind of parody where Byron was attacking George III and Robert Sadi, and that poem was written in Ottawa Rima, and the Ottawa Rima is, that is 8 iambic pentameter, and the rhyming scheme is ABCC. And in the last here, the Alastair here, that is written by P.B. Shelley. Its subtitle is The Spirit of Solitude. Alastair, or The Spirit of Solitude. The Spirit of Solitude. This is Alastair, or The Spirit of Solitude, done by P.B. Shelley. Okay, now move to the next question. Oh, here is the slide here. The Vision of Judgment, that was written in 1822. It's a satirical poem in Ottawa Rima by Lord Byron, which depicts a dispute in heaven over the fate of George III's soul. The Vision of Judgment, written by Lord Byron. It was written in response to poet laureate Robert Sadi's A Vision of Judgment, 1821. So the first one was he wrote, that is Robert Sadi wrote A Vision of Judgment in the year 1821. In the next year, 1822, The Vision of Judgment was written by Lord Byron, where he was attacking Robert Sadi as well as George III. And it is a kind of parody on poet laureate Robert Sadi's A Vision of Judgment. Okay, now move to the next question here. Who referred Sadi as the author of what Taylor? The author of what Taylor? Byron, Keats, Coleridge, Walter Scott. So here Lord Byron referred Sadi as the author of what Taylor. Okay, now move to question number 84. The shrill, the demented choirs of waiting cells and bugles calling for them from sad sires. These lines are from Wilfred Owens, the war poet. These lines are from Strange Meeting, Futility, Anthem for Doomed Youth, Duke et Decorum Est. So the option here is option number C, that is Anthem for Doomed Youth, is the right option here. The still demented choirs of waiting cells and bugles calling for them from sad sides. These lines appear in the poem that is Anthem for Doomed Youth, written by the war poet Wilfred Owens. Now the move to question number 85 here. Who was the original English translator? Here is about English translator for the book of Grammatology. Who had translated into English, and who was the original English translator of Grammatology. Samuel Weber, G.C. Spivak, that is Gayatri Chakraborty Spivak, Paul Deman, Jean-Luc Nancy. So the right option here, that is B, that is Gayatri Chaudhary Spivak. Option number B is the right answer here. See, translated Grammatology of Grammatology. Okay. Whose poem begins with the following lines, that is, books and the man I sing, the first who brings the Smithfield muses to the air of kings. So it is, the poem begins with an invocation. The poem begins with an invocation. So the poem is it Danceit, an essay on man, imitations of Horace, the rape of the lock. Danceit, an essay on man, or the rape of the lock. All these were written by Alexander Pope, and this is the opening line of Pope's the Danceit. The Pope's Danceit. So the books and the man I sing, the first who brings the Smithfield muses to the ear of kings. So this is the opening line of Pope's the Danceit. Okay, next question. Who wrote the poem She Walks in Beauty? She Walks in Beauty. She Walks in Beauty, published in the year 1814, which is a lyrical poem that was written in tetrameter. She Walks in Beauty, written by Shelley, Coleridge, Keats, Lord Byron. So She Walks in Beauty was written by Lord Byron. So option number D is the right answer here. Now let's have a look here, that in which work of Geoffrey Chaucer, we see the use of heroic couplet. So for the first time, Geoffrey Chaucer has used heroic couplet in which work? For the first time, the Book of Duchess, Legend of Good Women, that was unfinished, the Parliament of Fowls, and Troilus and Cressida. So the Book of Duchess, the Legend of Good Women, the Parliament. You know that the Book of Duchess was written in Ottava Rima. The Book of Duchess was written on the death of the Blanche. Who was the wife of his friend, John the Gaunt. So the book on the death of Blanche, it was written in Ottava Rima. The Book of Duchess was written in Ottava Rima or Ottava Rhyme, and the Legend of Good Women. So here the Legend of Good Women is the right answer. Legend of Good Women was written in heroic couplet. Yes, written in heroic couplet. And the Book of Duchess was written in Ottava Rima, whereas the Parliament of Fowls and Troilus and Cressida were written in rhyme royal. And for the first time, Chaucer has used rhyme royal in Troilus and Cressida. Rhyme royal was introduced in English literature by Chaucer in his famous poem, that is Troilus and Cressida. And after that, he has also written the Parliament of Fowls in rhyme royal, and the Legend of Good Women, which is an unfinished poem written by Chaucer, that was written in heroic couplet. Okay, now move to the next question. Question number 89. Who was the first recipient? Who is the first recipient of Sahitya Academy Award? Sahitya Academy Award for English. Sahitya Academy Award was the first Indian to receive the Sahitya Academy Award. Raja Rao, R.K. Narayan, Bhavani Bhattacharya, and Mulkas Anand. Bhavani Bhattacharya, R.K. Narayan, Raja Rao, Mulkas Anand. So the option number B, that is R.K. Narayan, was the first person in India to receive Sahitya Academy Award for English. So, and he got this Sahitya Academy Award for his novel The Guide, the famous novel Guide, where the character Raju, the railway Raju, appears, and Raju was trying to draw the attention of Roji from her husband. Raju was trying to draw the attention of Roji from her husband, and that husband was busy in his work, that he was doing a research when he had come to India. So whereas after the forgery, he was forging the sign of Marco, the husband of Roji, and he was put behind the bar. When he was released from the jail, he went to a desolated place where he was sitting there. But the people of Mangal, the village, I mean the name of the village is Mangal. Okay, Mangala or Mangal. So they believed Raju as Mahatma, and Raju take the form of Mahatma there. People believe, people assume him as a Mahatma, and for that reason, okay, Raju also take that identity. He accepts this identity as a Mahatma, and he tried to. He was fasting there for them, to bring rain. So Raju, from railway Raju to from railway Raju to he now become a Mahatma. So this is the transformation of the character. That is Raju. Raju is the main character. Okay, let's move to the next slide here. Which novel of R.K. Narayan was also adapted into a play in the year 1968? The play was profiled in William Goldman's book, The Season, A Candid Look at Broadway. It was profiled in the William Goldman's book, okay. It was adapted into a play in 1968. The play was profiled in William Goldman's book, The Season, A Candid Look at Broadway. The guide, the English teacher, the financial expert, the Bachelor of Arts. So option number A, that is guide, is the right answer here. All these works have been written by R.K. Narayan, the English teacher, the financial expert, the Bachelor of Arts, and the guide. Okay. Now move to question number. So okay, here is the some details about the guide novel that was published in the year 1958. Is written in English by the Indian author R.K. Narayan. Like most of his works, this novel is based on the fictional area, that is Malgudi, the fictional town in South India. And the novel describes the transformation of protagonist Raju from a tour guide to a spiritual guide who becomes a Mahatma there, then one of the greatest holy men of India. The novel brought Narayan in 1900. So after the publication of the guide that was published in the year 1958, he got the Sahitya Academy Award after 2 years. That is in 1960s. He got the Sahitya Academy Award for English. Okay. Now move to question number 91. Who wrote The Rising of the Moon? The Rising of the Moon, the poem Rising of the Moon, was written by whom? Lady Gregory, William Butler Yeats, John Osborne, Harold Pinter. So it was Lady Gregory. The Lady Gregory wrote the poem that is The Rising of the Moon. Okay. Sean O'Casey, the Irish author, wrote which work? The Shadow of the Glen, The Rising of the Moon, The Tinker's Wedding, and Juno and the Peacock. So Sean O'Casey wrote this, that is Juno and the Peacock. Okay. Now move to question number 93. Shelley's Queen Map. Shelley's Queen Map is about a religious persecution, domestic bondage, both A and B, none of these. Shelley's Queen Map is about a religious persecution, domestic bondage as well. So option number C, that is both A and B, is the right answer. It is about a religious persecution and domestic bondage. Okay, now move to question number 94. Now what is the subtitle of Queen Map, Shelley's Queen Map? A philosophical poem with notes, a philosophical poem, the demon of the world, a theological poem with notes. So the subtitle of Queen Map is a philosophical poem, poem with notes, and the demon of the world is the another version of the work is a demon of the world, the second edition. Okay, the demon of the world. But the subtitle of Queen Map, written by Shelley, was a philosophical poem with notes. Okay, here look at here, that is Queen Map, a philosophical poem with notes, published in the year 1813, that has 9 cantos with 17 notes. It is the first large poetic work written by P.B. Shelley, the English romantic poet. After substantial reworking, revised edition was The Demon of the World. So the portion of the text was published in the 1816 under the title The Demon of the World. This is the revised edition, that is The Demon of the World. The theme of the work is perfectibility of man by moral means. Shelley took William Godwin's idea, that is necessity. Shelley took the idea of William Godwin's, that is necessity, and combined it with his own idea of ever-changing nature, that to establish the theory that the contemporary societal evils would dissolve naturally. सोसाइटी में जितना भी क्या है evil है, that will destroy, that will dissolve naturally. इसके लिए हम लोग को क्या नहीं करना पड़ेगा, यानी फाइट नहीं करना पड़ेगा. That will dissolve naturally in time that will dissolve. Shelley, as a result of Napoleon's action in the French Revolution, believed that the perfect society could not be obtained immediately. The society that can be called perfect. So a perfect society cannot be acquired or obtained immediately. Rather, it can be acquired naturally with the time. Naturally through that cannot be obtained through violent revolution. That means to fight through fight and war. Instead, it can be achieved through nature's evolution, and very slowly, gradually, ever greater numbers of people becoming with virtuous and imagining a better society. So it is a natural process. Every bad things will be dissolved naturally. So it will be, we will have to wait for that. So it cannot be obtained through fight, through violent revolution. When was Johnson's dictionary published? Johnson's dictionary was published 1755. So this one is the right answer. Very easy. The Johnson's dictionary was published in the year 1755. Okay. For which work did Amrita Pritam win the Sahitya Academy Award? Kagos the canvas. Yeah. Pinjar, Sewnhead, Vattu Varissaha. Amrita Pritam got the Sahitya Academy Award for her work, that is the magnum opus Sewnhead. Sewnhead is a magnum opus poem, and Pinjar is the only novel written by Amrita Pritam. Pinjar, that is the skeleton. And Kagos, for Kagos the canvas, she got the Gyanpith Award. The Gyanpith Award. She got the Gyanpith Award for Kagos the canvas. Yeah. And Ode to Varissaha is an elegy on Varissaha, that is also dealt with partition of India. Okay, so this is for Sewnhead. She got the Sahitya Academy Award, and Pinjar is the only novel that was written by Amrita Pritam, the skeleton. Okay, now move to the next question, question number 97. Which poem of Amrita Pritam is about partition of India and an elegy to the 18th century Punjabi poet? Kagos the canvas, Pinjar, Sewnhead, Vattu Varissaha. Earlier in the previous question I discussed that Vattu Varissaha is an elegy to the 18th century Punjabi poet, and it also the background, it has also the background of partition of India. So Vattu Varissaha is the right answer here. Question number 98. Which novel of Kamala Markanda is based on the construction of a dam? Construction of a dam in South Indian family. A handful of rice, the coffer dams, the nectar in sieve, the golden honeycomb. Okay, so the novel of Kamala Markanda that is based on construction of a dam is the coffer dam. The name itself suggests the coffer dams. Okay. And the nectar of sieve. The title has been taken from Samuel Taylor Coleridge's poem, that is Work Without Hope. Work Without Hope. Yeah, in the golden honeycomb you will get the characters like Bajirao 1, Bajirao 2, Bajirao 3. The golden honeycomb. Nectarine Seeds, the title has been taken from Work Without Hope. And the coffer dams based on construction dam. And a handful of rice, I want a meal, I am hungry. I am hungry, I want a meal. That begins with the lines, a famous line that of a handful of rice. Okay. 99. The character Maggie. The character Maggie Talliver figures in Adam Beat, The Meal on the Floors, Silas Marner, or none of this. The character Maggie appears in which work of George Eliot? So Adam Beat, The Meal on the Floors, Silas Marner. So it is The Meal on the Floors. That is the option number B is the right answer here, where Maggie Talliver is the central character. There and the character Maggie appears here. Okay. Now move to the next question. Question number. So spanning a period of 10 to 15, novel deals with the lives of Tom and Maggie Talliver, siblings. They are actually siblings. So the spanning a period of 10 to 15 years, the novel depicts the lives of Tom and Maggie Talliver. They are the siblings who grew up just at Dorcote Mill. So the Dorcote Mill appears on the river flows. The mill is at the junction of the river flows and the more minor river Ripple, near the village of St. Ox in Lincolnshire, England. Both the rivers and the village are fictional. And in that novel, the character, that is Maggie Talliver, passes through a period of tough spirituality, and during which she renounces the world, and he motivated by her reading Thomas Kempis. So she was reading the novel of Thomas Kempis, that is in that novel the imitation of Christ, the imitation of Christ. So she was reading the novel, that is Thomas Kempis, the imitation of Christ. Okay, who? That is Maggie Tulliver. And the name of the mill was Dorcott Mill. Okay, now what is the other title of Rohinton Mysteries Tales from Firozabad? What is the other title from of Rohinton Mysteries Tales from Firozabad? A Fine Balance, The Long Journey, then Family Matters, Swimming Lessons and Other Stories. So option number D, that is Swimming Lesson and Other Stories, the right answer. That is what is the other title of the winter mysteries from Firozabad? Swimming lessons and other stories. Okay. Now move to the next question. A fine balance here. The Rohinton mysteries fine balance is the backdrop of the emergency in India. The emergency period in India. And yeah, the emergency period in India. Okay. Now move to question number 101. Two of the following lists are angry young. They are the following are the angry young men of the 1950s British literary scene. So John Osborne, C.P. Snow, Anthony Powell, Kingsley Amis. So right combination here. John Osborne belongs to angry young men, and here Kingsley Amis. So 1 and 4, 1 and 4. So C option is the right answer. 1 and 4. The two of the following lists are angry young men, the 1950s British literary scene. So here John Osborne and Kingsley Amis belong to the angry young men. Now move to question number 102. In Afra Bain's Oronuku, in Afra Bain's famous novel, that is Oronuku, how does the titular character die? He disembowels himself. He is whipped to death. He is hanged in public square, or he is cut to pieces slowly by the executioner. So the option number D, that is he is cut to pieces slowly by the executioner, is the right answer. Okay, now move to question number 103. Which English name was given to Oronuku? Which English name was given to Oronuku after he was sold into slavery? So Oronuku, the African prince, the African black prince Oronuku, was sold into slavery, and he was given an English name. So was it Caesar, Antonio, Gerald, or Leek? So here the right option is Caesar. So he was given the English name, that is Caesar, when he was sold into slavery. Okay. Now move to question number 104. Oronuku, and its subtitle is, look at here, the Oronuku's subtitle is The Royal Slave. Is a work what is happening here? Yeah, that is Afra Bain. Oronuku is the prince of Coromantien, who is sold into slavery in Suriname by European slave traders. Oronuku later leads a slave revolt and is killed by his slave masters. Oronuku is the prince of Coromantien who is sold into slavery in Suriname by European slave traders. Oronuku later leads a slave revolt and is killed by his slave masters. Here the Caesar is the English name. Caesar is the English name here, that Oronuku. That Oronuku is given after he is sold into slavery. Okay. The coffee house that is called the coffee house culture flourished in the early 18th century, 19th century, then none of these. So 17th century. What is happening here? Okay. The coffee house culture flourished in 18th century. So this is the right answer here. The coffee house culture flourished in 18th century. Okay. Now to question number 105. Books were seldom judged on their merits. Books were seldom judged on their merits, the praise or blame being generally awarded according to the political principles of their authors. About which period is John Dennis talking about? Here it is 18th century. So John Dennis books are seldom judged on their merits. Their praise of blame begging generally awarded according to the political principles of their authors. So this is John Dennis was talking about the 18th century. So the option number C is the here right answer. It is John Dennis. Okay. If you are liking my video, please do subscribe my channel SAHOO'S tutorial and share with your friends. Do let them know and let's learn with. Okay, now move to the question number 106. The heroic couplet was first used by Dryden, Pope, Chaucer, Spenser. The heroic couplet was used first by Chaucer. It was Chaucer who had used the heroic couplet for the first time in the Legend of Good Women. The Legend of Good Women. Yeah, Legend of Good Women, which is an unfinished poem. The Legend of Good Women. Okay. Then 107. Which narrative poem by Lord Tennyson presents the story of a fisherman turned merchant sailor who after a shipwreck is marooned on a desert island crossing the bar Tithonus, Enoch Arden, Mott. So it was Enoch Arden, a fisherman turned into a merchant sailor and who after shipwreck is marooned on a desert island, that is Enoch Arden. Okay. Who among the following is not a reader response critic? So here Maud Botkin, is an archetypal critic, Hans Robert Joss, Stanley Fish, Wolfgang Iyer. So here Maud Botkin is not a reader response critic. These three are reader response critic. Along with these three, there are two other critics who do belong to reader response. Here are they are, that is Norman Holland. They are Norman Holland, Norman Holland, and Rolla Barthes. Rolla Barthes is also referred as reader response critic. Is considered as reader response critic. So Norman Holland, Rolla Barthes, Hans Robert Joss, Stanley Fish, Wolfgang Iyer. They are the reader response critic. Yeah, here look at here. Classic reader response critics include Norman Holland, Stanley Fish, Wolfgang Iyer, Hans Robert Joss, and Rolla Barthes. Okay, move to question number 109. From among the following, identify the journal that publishes articles on English language teaching and learning. A journal that publishes articles on English language teaching and learning. University of Toronto Quarterly, Agenda, TESOL Quarterly, English language notes. So it is none other than TESOL Quarterly, where that publishes articles on English language teaching and learning. Okay. So the next question here, TESOL completely a professional referred journal was published in the year 1967. Question number 110, where according to T.S. Eliot are we likely to find not only the best but the most individual parts of a poet's work? Where can we find, according to T.S. Eliot, not only the best but the most individual parts of a poet's work? In the poet's juvenilia or rejected drafts, in the best anthologies and scrapbooks, in those parts where the dead poets assert their immortality, in those parts where living poets depart from their ancestors. So the option number C, that is in those parts where the dead poets assert their immortality, in that place we can see that that not only the best but the most individual parts of a poet's work can be found. The following was the editor of the Criterion. Who was the editor of the Criterion? C.D. Narasimha, M. Sivaram Krishna, T.S. Eliot, none of this. So it is T.S. Eliot, the editor of the Criterion. Okay. The Flies, the famous play. The Flies, a 1943 play by Jean-Paul Sartre, the French playwright, modernized which Greek myth by introducing the theme of existentialism. So he had introduced the theme of existentialism by taking the Greek myth. So was it Oedipus myth, Electra myth, Antigone myth? None of the above. So Jean-Paul Sartre has used the electra myth, that is option number B is the right answer, and he has modernized this electra myth, and he had also introduced the theme of existentialism in his work, that is The Flies, published in the year 1943. Okay, The Flies is a play by Jean-Paul Sartre, production 1943. It is an adaptation of electra myth previously used by the ASE, that is Aeschylus, Euripides, and Sophocles, Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides. The play recounts the story of Orestes and his sister Electra in their quest to avenge the death of their father, that is Agamemnon, king of Argos, by killing their mother, that is Clytemnestra. Clytemnestra. Sartre incorporated here, what he incorporated? He incorporated the theme of existentialist theme or existentialism into the play, having Electra and Orestes engaged in a battle with Zeus and Furies, who are the gods of Argos and centerpiece of self-abnegating religious rituals. This results in the fear and lack of autonomy for Jews or worshippers who live in constant shame of their humanity. So The Flies is a famous play written by Jean-Paul Sartre, the French playwright, published in the 1943, where he had modernized the theme, the Electra myth, and he had also here included the theme of existentialism, that is The Flies. What is the first song that is sung by the chorus at the beginning of a Greek tragedy? What is the first song that is sung by the chorus? So name of the first song that is sung by the chorus at the beginning of a Greek tragedy. Was it Prologue, Exodus, Parados, Satismon? So it is Parados. What is Parados? Parados is the first song that is sung by the chorus at the beginning of a Greek tragedy. At the beginning of a Greek tragedy, a song is sung, and that song is called Parados. So option number C is the right answer here. Okay. In Arkanand Swamy and Friends, the novel, that is in Arkanand Swamy and Friends, which game offers Swamy the best kind of emotional release? So he was getting a kind of emotional release from the strains, from the pressures, from the experiences they were experiencing at a disagreeable circumstances. Okay, was it cricket, football, tennis, hockey? So in Swamy and Friends, okay, Arkanand has talked about the play, that is the cricket. It was cricket that was releasing the pressures, the strains of Swamy in Swamy and Friends. Last questions of today, that is 115. Anthony Burgess' last novel, published in 1993, it's called A Dead Man in Deptford. A Dead Man in Deptford. Who is the central character to whom the title refers? The title, that is A Dead Man in Deptford. Whom does the title refer? Sir Walter Raleigh, Sir Philip Sidney, Christopher Marlowe, Earl of Southampton. So it is none other than the great playwright of Elizabethan area, that is Christopher Marlowe, the great Renaissance playwright, that is Christopher Marlowe. Anthony Burgess has referred Christopher Marlowe in his famous last novel, that is A Dead Man in Deptford. So these are all questions. I have discussed 115 questions total in 3 videos. If you like the video, please subscribe my channel and share with your friends, and do not forget to tap the bell icon to get more notification about the video that I will upload in future. Thank you once again for watching this video, and have a good night.